Tonight, let's dim the world to a comfortable hush. The screen glow is low, your breathing is slow, and the window, if you have one, holds a small slice of night. Somewhere beyond that dark is a galaxy turning quietly, and inside it, our bright, busy little world. This is where we begin, with a simple, tender question asked in a soft voice so it doesn't wake the house. Are we early? The quiet of the universe can feel like a weight, like a library at closing time. We listen, we send our thin radio whispers, we build better ears, and yet the sky keeps its calm. No crowds of neighbors waving from distant suns. No obvious cities stitched into the night. It's tempting to think the silence means emptiness. But silence has many meanings. Can mean concentration. Can mean dawn. Imagine the cosmos as a concert hall opening its doors. The first musicians arrive long before the audience. They carry cases, tune strings, breathe on cold brass. A few notes drift out, fragile, private, incomplete. If you walk by the door right now, you might think the hall is empty. But you would be early. And early is not the same as alone. Our planet sits in that kind of hour. One where the chairs are still being set, the lights are still warming. Stars had to forge the heavier elements, planets had to cool, oceans had to experiment for ages, and minds had to learn patience. Intelligence is a late bloom on an old tree. The trunk took eons to rise. That we are here at all might say less about how rare minds are and more about how young the theater still is. So tonight, we'll wander through this idea with care. We'll trace the slow chemistry of stars and the long patience of oceans. We'll listen for reasons the sky is quiet that have nothing to do with doom and everything to do with timing. Along the way, we'll consider what it means ethically, practically, tenderly if we truly are among the first. The first to hold a match in a dark room. The first to name constellations from a warm bed. The first to leave notes in bottles for friends who haven't arrived yet. For now, let your shoulders drop. Picture the Milky Way as a river braided with light. Somewhere inside it, a blue planet turns toward morning. The room around you is safe. The story is slow. You are on a small boat in a wide, calm current. Our question will not rush you. It will carry you. Are we early? Maybe. If so, that comes with a kind of responsibility, not to shout but to shepherd. Not to burn bright and vanish, but to kindle something that lasts long enough for others to see it. That's the heart of this series. A bedtime walk through the quiet dawn of minds. As we stretch into the quiet hours of the night, let's gently place our feet on a long path. It's the same one stars have been walking for billions of years. And in some ways, this is the story of why we're early, the slow work of the universe, the painstaking effort it took to create the conditions for us to rise. The stars, in their shining, have always been heavy with promise. But for a long time, the sky above us was too thin, too light, too empty. The early stars, those first giants born from nothing but hydrogen, had no choice but to burn bright and fast. They didn't have time to grow old and wise. They flared into existence, died in a brief instant, and with that death, they scattered the elements that would one day make life possible. Those flashes, those final breaths, are the reason you and I are here at all. Hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant element in the universe, had to be coaxed into the company of heavier elements like carbon, oxygen, and iron. It needed those elements to build life, to turn gas into rock, and then to shape living things. And that was a slow process. It was the stars that cooked up the recipe. The atoms forged deep within their cores, then scattered into the darkness. The oxygen in your lungs, the iron in your blood, all came from these explosions. The atoms of your body were once part of those ancient flames. The universe didn't just create stars. It created the possibility for life, slowly, with intent. This wasn't a quick thing. In fact, it's still happening. When we look up, we see starlight from billions of years ago. Those first stars exploded long before Earth even existed. By the time Earth came along, the universe had filled out its arsenal of heavy elements, ready to build a planet like ours. But even that wasn't enough. The stars had scattered their dust. The planets had begun to form. But there was something missing, something that would only come with time. It wasn't just about having the right elements in place. It was about the conditions for life itself. The cooling of a planet, the rise of oceans, the dance of time that makes it possible for something as fragile as intelligence to evolve. You see, the universe, in all its glory, doesn't rush. Its grand acts of creation happen slowly, with a patience that almost seems like waiting for the right moment to unfold. And we, here now, are part of that patience. We are the tip of the iceberg, the first stirrings of a long legacy that could stretch far beyond our understanding. If we are early, it is because the universe had to build this moment from the ground up. The elements, the conditions, the timing, everything had to fall into place over vast periods. And though we sit here, tiny in comparison to the vastness of the universe, we stand as proof that patience, vast, unyielding patience, breeds something extraordinary. So what does it mean to be early? It means that the road ahead, the horizon we can't yet see, still holds so much more waiting for us. Perhaps other minds, other civilizations are out there waiting for their time, waiting for the universe to turn in their favor, waiting for their dawn. In the stillness of the night, with only the quiet hum of the world around us, let's take a step deeper into the concept of time. Time that stretches across the cosmos, stretching like soft threads between stars. As we ask ourselves if we're early, we must consider this crucial element. The universe doesn't just build at a pace, it has its own rhythm. Time moves at its own gentle speed. The universe began in chaos, in a burst of energy and matter, and yet, for all that violent beginning, time itself has taken its time. When we look at a star, we are looking not just at its light, but at a history older than our own. When light leaves a star, it may travel for millions of years before it reaches us. The light that has reached us from the stars we see in the sky tonight might be hundreds of millions, or even billions, of years old. So when we think of time, we aren't just thinking of the years we've spent here on Earth. We are surrounded by ancient time, like echoes from the deep past, wrapping themselves around us in a delicate embrace. The reason why we are early, I think, is not just about the age of the stars, but about the timing of life itself. Time had to take its time to create life, to allow for the first signs of intelligence to emerge. The ticking clock of the cosmos has stretched out far before us, and it will continue long after. Life on Earth didn't just pop into being, it was allowed to unfurl over eons, through billions of years of change, of shifts in temperature, of gradual adaptations and transformations. Consider this. When you're sitting at your kitchen table, reading a book or sipping tea, it's easy to forget that time is moving in a grand, cosmic way. But the universe has a much larger clock. Its hands don't move in minutes or hours. Instead, they move in epochs and ages. Civilizations, like moments, are fleeting, and the long gaps between those moments, the silent centuries, the slow flickering of stars, are what have made life so delicate and precious. In a sense, we are all the early birds in the great sweep of time. We are still in the first chapters of a book that stretches far ahead of us. The universe, with all its vastness, is giving us a moment to breathe, to learn, to grow. But that moment is not without its responsibilities. We might think that because we are so small, because we are such a brief moment in the history of time, we don't matter. But in reality, it's that very smallness that makes us so important. The universe has placed us at this very particular moment. And like a seed that takes root, our actions, our thoughts, our decisions, could ripple out far beyond our understanding. The galactic clock, then, is not rushing us. It is giving us time to learn, to rise, to evolve, to reach for the stars. And perhaps the quiet of the universe isn't something to fear. It might just be the space we need to grow into the fullness of who we're meant to become. As we continue our journey, moving deeper into the unfolding mystery of our place in time, let's pause and turn our gaze down, back to the Earth beneath us. The planet we call home, still humming quietly in its orbit, is a product of vast, slow processes. So slow that we can hardly grasp the complexity of what had to fall into place for life to rise here. Our Earth is a garden, one that took billions of years to prepare. In the early days, the planet was nothing like the world we know today. It was a hostile, volatile place. Boiling oceans, a thick, toxic atmosphere, violent storms, and constant volcanic eruptions. Life, as we now understand it, had no place in that world. It had to wait, For life to flourish here, certain conditions had to be met. The right elements needed to come together in the right amounts. Water had to settle into rivers, lakes, and oceans. The atmosphere had to stabilize. The right temperature had to be maintained, a delicate balance that allows liquid water to exist. All of this took time that stretches so far back that it seems almost impossible to fathom. Imagine the patience required of our planet to become the cradle of life. It wasn't just a series of lucky events. The Earth had to be in the right spot in the solar system, not too close to the sun to scorch life, and not too far away to freeze it. The gravitational pull of the moon stabilized our axis, giving us seasons that allowed life to adapt. The presence of liquid water was another miracle, a delicate balance that came from the right amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, forming a greenhouse effect that kept temperatures warm enough for life to thrive. But even with all the right conditions, life still needed time to find its way. The earliest forms of life were simple bacteria, single-celled organisms, but they set the stage for something more. They slowly began to transform the planet. Over billions of years, these tiny organisms turned the Earth's atmosphere from one filled with poisonous gases into one that could support complex life. They created the oxygen we breathe, the nitrogen that surrounds us, and even the very soil we plant our crops in. Life had to wait for these foundational changes. But once those changes were in place, life began to take off. Slowly at first, but with a force that would eventually transform the planet. If we are early, it's not because Earth didn't prepare for us. It's because Earth had to go through a painstaking process of creating the conditions that would allow us to emerge. And even now, as we take our place in the story of the universe, we are still the product of that patience. We are the culmination of eons of work by the planet itself. This sense of waiting, of things being prepared for the right moment, is not just true for Earth. It's the very nature of life in the universe. The conditions for life are rare, at least the kind of life we recognize. The elements, the timing, the balance, they are all part of a cosmic dance that has taken billions of years to choreograph. And yet, here we are. Not by chance, but because the Earth, like the universe, took its time. If we are early, perhaps it's because the universe, in its infinite patience, is giving us just enough time to rise, so that, when the time is right, we can share the stage with others. Now, as we step a little further into the quiet night, let's turn our attention to the heart of the question. Intelligence. What does it mean to be aware, to think, to reason? And why is it, in the grand timeline of the cosmos, such a delicate thing? When we look at the Earth, we see intelligence in its early form. It began in the simplest forms, in creatures that learned to navigate the world through instinct and adaptation. Over time, these instincts grew into something more, something deeper. The evolution of intelligence, of self-awareness, was not a quick leap. It was a slow dance that required patience, trial, error, and immense complexity. But here's the delicate part: intelligence is fragile. It is not a simple equation. It requires a delicate balance of the right environmental pressures, biological structures, and enough time for those structures to evolve and adapt. A brain capable of reflection and reasoning is a rarity in the biological world. And even more rare is a civilization capable of advancing that intelligence to the point of creating lasting change. In fact, when we look at Earth's history, it becomes clear that intelligence is not a guaranteed outcome. Species have risen and fallen, many never reaching the point where they could look beyond their own survival. Even today, we see how fragile intelligence can be in the face of environmental challenges, war, and the potential dangers of our own technological advancements. Our own species, Homo sapiens, has only recently risen to the challenge of surviving and thriving in the modern world. We have discovered tools, created societies, and built technology that has transformed the very fabric of our planet. Yet, we are still in the early stages of fully understanding the power and the responsibility that comes with our intelligence. We have the ability to create, but also the potential to destroy. What does this mean for the larger cosmic picture? It suggests that intelligence, like life itself, is a rare and fragile spark, one that can easily be extinguished by the very forces it seeks to control. The history of Earth is full of moments where that spark could have been snuffed out, where a single event, be it a mass extinction, a climate shift, or a war, could have erased all that we've built. And here's the truly humbling thought. If we are early, it is because intelligence, as we know it, is still in its infancy. The universe is vast, and we are just beginning to understand the responsibilities that come with the gift of awareness. Perhaps, like the stars that gave us the elements to form life, we too must burn bright, but carefully, thoughtfully, so that the fragile flame of intelligence can endure long enough to become something greater. In the cosmic timeline, we are still young. Our intelligence is a flicker, a spark that could grow into something profound. But we are still learning how to protect it, nurture it, and allow it to flourish in a universe that has yet to show us its full measure. And so, our question returns. Are we early? Perhaps. But if we are, it's because we have been given the delicate gift of intelligence. An intelligence that we must protect, cultivate, and allow to unfold with wisdom. Now that we've begun to understand the quiet of the universe, and the delicate spark of intelligence, let's turn our attention to the question that lingers in the background of all these musings. If we are early, then where is everyone else? This is the core of the Fermi paradox, the contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the complete lack of evidence that such life exists. Given the vastness of the universe, with billions of stars and potentially even more planets, the question arises. Why haven't we heard from anyone else? If the universe is teeming with life, why is the sky so eerily quiet? For now, we only have our own world to look at as a frame of reference. Earth is the only example we have of a planet where life and intelligence have arisen. But the silence of the stars around us suggests that something more complex may be at play. Could it be that civilizations like ours exist elsewhere, but they are simply not broadcasting their presence? Perhaps they have learned, as we must, to be quiet, to hide, to wait. There is a possibility that life has existed in other parts of the galaxy and simply never made its presence known in a way we would recognize. The signals might be subtle, filtered through the lens of time or technology, or simply beyond our current understanding. But the silence still presses in, making us wonder. If there are others, why haven't they come forward? And then, there's the more unsettling possibility. Perhaps advanced civilizations inevitably destroy themselves. This idea, suggested by thinkers like the late physicist Stephen Hawking, poses a chilling thought, that technological advancement, without the wisdom to guide it, leads to self-destruction. It's a tragic cycle that could explain why we haven't encountered other civilizations. They may have risen, but they didn't survive the long enough climb to reach a point of peaceful coexistence. Perhaps we are early precisely because other civilizations have already reached their peak and vanished, leaving no trace behind. Their voices are silent in the vastness of space, and we are left to wonder if we are doomed to follow the same path. But then again, perhaps we are meant to be the exception. Perhaps we have been given just enough time, just enough patience, to break the cycle and build something that lasts. We are listening and we are watching. Every radio wave, every telescope, every search for technosignatures is a step toward answering the question of whether we are truly alone. And in some ways, the fact that we haven't found an answer yet might be proof that we are still early, still in the process of becoming who we are meant to be. The quiet around us might not be a sign of abandonment, but of anticipation. The universe may be waiting for us to grow into our role, to reach a level of maturity where we can join the galactic conversation without fear, without danger. Maybe the silence is not something to fear, but something to respect. And so we find ourselves, once again, in that fragile space between beginnings and endings. We stand in the quiet, wondering if there are others like us, wondering if we are truly early or if the universe has simply not had time to reveal its secrets. As we continue to move through the quiet stretches of space and time, let's pause for a moment to reflect on a concept that is as ancient as life itself. Responsibility. With the gift of intelligence comes a responsibility, a heavy, yet crucial one. If we are early, then perhaps it is because we've been entrusted with something rare, something precious. For millennia, humanity has struggled with the dual nature of its abilities. We are creators, capable of bringing new worlds into existence. and we are destroyers with the power to unravel everything we've built. This duality, which has existed since the dawn of our species, is at the heart of our responsibility as intelligent beings. And it's something we must confront if we are to understand why we might be early in the grand timeline of the cosmos. Let's think about what it means to be entrusted with the care of this planet, with the evolution of our technology, and with the development of our understanding. To have intelligence, to be aware, is a gift, but it is also a burden. And when we look at the universe, at its great silence, we must wonder if this same responsibility has been placed on the shoulders of other civilizations that have come before us. What happened to them? Did they, too, falter under the weight of their responsibility? Did they fail to navigate the delicate balance between progress and preservation? And most importantly, how can we avoid repeating the mistakes of those who may have come before us? We are walking a fine line. On one hand, we have the potential to create new technologies, new ways of living, new ways of being. On the other, we have the potential to destroy our environment, our societies, our very existence. The question becomes not whether we will rise, but whether we will rise wisely. If we are early, it may be because the universe, in its infinite patience, has given us just enough time to learn, to grow, and to understand the weight of our decisions. Perhaps we are the universe's first attempt at a species that will rise above its own short-sightedness, that will face the harsh reality of its power and choose to wield it for good. This responsibility, while heavy, is also empowering. It means that the future of life in the cosmos, perhaps even the future of intelligent life, may rest in our hands. If we can rise to the challenge, if we can learn to balance creation and destruction, then we may be the ones who show the universe that intelligence, when guided by wisdom, can endure. But the burden is not just on us alone. It is on every civilization that might one day rise to take our place. We are but one step in a long process of growth and learning. The silence we hear from the stars is not just the quiet of abandonment, but the quiet of waiting. It is the silence of hope, hope that, in time, we will learn to carry this responsibility with grace, to grow into our role as stewards of this planet and beyond. So, if we are early, we must ask ourselves, how will we use this time? Will we rise to the challenge? Will we embrace the responsibility that comes with our intelligence, our potential? Or will we allow the same fate that befell others to fall upon us? The silence, it seems, is not just a waiting game. It's a challenge, a call to us to listen, to learn, and to rise with wisdom. As we continue our journey through the cosmic night, let's zoom out, way out, and consider the long, slow march of evolution. When we ask ourselves whether we are early, it's not just about the timing of our intelligence. It's about the timing of everything, of life, of progress, of change. Evolution is not a rapid sprint. It is a meandering, patient journey, one that unfolds over millennia. The Earth, in its most ancient moments, was a place of chaos and instability. It was not the garden we know today, full of greenery and life. It was a volatile, unpredictable world, one in which survival was the exception, not the rule. And yet, from this chaos, life emerged, slowly, tentatively at first. It started with simple single-celled organisms, and over billions of years, through countless experiments in survival, complexity began to emerge. As life evolved, it adapted to the challenges it faced, changing, adjusting, finding new ways to thrive. But this process wasn't without its hurdles. Evolution doesn't guarantee progress. It doesn't promise success. Many branches of life on Earth never advanced to the point of intelligence. They remained locked in simpler forms, their evolutionary paths stunted by the limitations of their environments or their biology. Even now, much of the life on Earth is still rooted in simpler forms, living in harmony with the planet without the need for intelligence. And then, there are the rare branches, those that evolved the capacity for thought, for reasoning, for self-awareness. The human species, in this sense, is an anomaly. It took billions of years for our brains to develop the complexity needed for abstract thought, problem-solving, and consciousness. And while we look at ourselves and think of how far we've come, it's important to remember that our evolution is fragile. Could have gone differently, could have stopped at any number of points. Our ability to think, to create, to innovate, to destroy, it all hangs on a delicate thread. We are the product of countless environmental pressures, genetic mutations, and chance events that led us to this moment. Our progress, our rise to intelligence, was not inevitable. It was the result of an intricate dance of factors, many of which were beyond our control. This fragility of progress is something to consider when we look at the question of whether we are early. If evolution is slow, if intelligence is so rare and delicate, then perhaps the universe is giving us time to learn how to protect this fragile spark of life and thought. We are not guaranteed success. In fact, the universe is full of examples of species that reached a peak and then disappeared, either due to their own actions or through forces beyond their control. Our intelligence, for all its brilliance, is still young. We have only just begun to understand the full implications of our power, the power to shape the environment, to manipulate the genetic code, to change the very structure of the world around us. But with that power comes responsibility. If we are to make progress, if we are to evolve further, we must learn how to navigate this fragile balance between advancement and preservation. The long view of evolution reminds us that progress is not a straight line. It is full of twists and turns, of successes and failures. We may be early, but the path ahead is still uncertain. We may have the tools for greatness, but we also have the potential for failure. The question is not whether we will rise, but whether we will rise wisely. Will we learn from the mistakes of the past and protect the fragile progress we have made? Or will we let the same forces that caused the downfall of other civilizations unravel everything we've built? If we are early, it's not just a question of time, it's a question of maturity, of wisdom. Evolution has given us the spark, but it is up to us to nurture it, to let it grow into something lasting, something that can stand the test of time. As we drift deeper into this reflective space, let's pause and consider something that has quietly emerged in our thoughts: our legacy. If we are early, if we are among the first civilizations to rise to this point, then it's not just about what we do today. It's about what we leave behind, what we will pass down to the generations that follow us. The weight of this thought can be humbling. As a species, we have the rare opportunity to define the path for future civilizations, whether those that may arise here on Earth, or those that might rise in distant corners of the cosmos. This moment we find ourselves in, this quiet, fragile moment, is not just for us. It is a part of a much longer, grander story, one that will echo long after we are gone. What kind of legacy will we leave? What will future civilizations look back on when they study us? Will they see a species that rose to the challenge of its time and became a force for good? Or will they see a species that stumbled, that failed to live up to the promise it once held? As guardians of tomorrow, our responsibility is not just to ourselves but to the future. We must consider how the decisions we make today will ripple out into the future. The technology we develop, the choices we make about our environment, our social structures, our way of life, they are the seeds that will grow into the future's branches. How we treat the earth now, how we cultivate peace, how we share knowledge, how we handle our resources, these are the things that will shape the world to come. Think of the great civilizations that have come before us: ancient Egypt, Rome, the Mayans, and others. We study their rise and fall, marveling at their achievements and learning from their mistakes. We are, in many ways, their inheritors. They pass down knowledge, culture, and technology that shape the world we live in today. But they also left behind warnings, the mistakes they made, the challenges they couldn't overcome. And now we stand at the same crossroads they once did, with the same potential for greatness and the same dangers of collapse. If we are early, it means that we have been given time to learn from the past. We are the heirs of those who came before us, and we have the chance to shape a future that honors their achievements while avoiding their pitfalls. We are the stewards of the future, and that stewardship carries with it an immense responsibility. We must not squander it. But this responsibility is not just a burden. It is also a privilege, a chance to do something meaningful, something that will endure through time. We have the opportunity to build a world that future civilizations will look to with awe and gratitude. A world where intelligence is used to heal, to create, to share, and to connect. A world that doesn't repeat the mistakes of the past, but learns from them. So, as we ponder the question of whether we are early, let's also consider this: the future is watching us, not just as observers but as inheritors. What kind of world do we want to pass on? How will we be remembered? Our legacy is still being written. And if we rise to the occasion, if we choose wisely, act with foresight, and create a world that reflects our highest values, then we will leave behind something that lasts far longer than any of us. We will leave behind a gift for those who come after us, a gift that echoes through the stars. As we continue our journey through the quiet moments of our cosmic existence, let's step back for a moment and see the bigger picture. The universe, with its vast expanse and ancient history, is like a grand stage. And we, as a species, are just beginning to take our place on it. We've spent millennia preparing, evolving, and learning. And now, it's our turn to step into the light. But what does it mean to be ready for the next act? If we are early, as we've been reflecting on, then we are standing at the edge of something much larger than ourselves. It's a moment of anticipation, of potential. The universe has given us a stage, and it's now asking, what will we do with it? The stage is not just a passive backdrop. It is a living, breathing entity. It stretches out before us, vast and infinite, filled with possibilities. And yet, it's also a place of challenge and uncertainty. Just as actors must adapt to the ebb and flow of their performance, we too must adapt to the changing rhythms of the universe. We must face the uncertainties of the future with courage, knowing that we are part of something much larger than our individual lives. But this stage is not only for us. It is for all those who will come after us. Just as we look back on the civilizations of the past, there will be others who look to us for guidance, for inspiration, for lessons learned. What will they see when they gaze upon our performance? Will they see a civilization that took its place on the stage with grace, that faced the challenges of its time and overcame them? Or will they see a species that faltered, that lost its way? The answer, of course, lies in what we do now. The next act of the universe is not a given. It is something we must shape, something we must create with each decision we make. If we are early, it means we have the luxury of time, the opportunity to set the stage for those who will follow us. We have the chance to lay down the foundations of a legacy that will resonate for millennia. This moment, the one we are living in right now, is part of the story that will be told for generations to come. It is a part of the grand cosmic narrative, one that stretches across time and space, weaving together the past, the present, and the future. We are not just passive observers of the universe. We are active participants in its unfolding story. And how we choose to play our part will determine the direction of that story. In the grand scope of time, our moment may seem brief. But in that brief moment, we have the power to make a lasting impact. We have the ability to rise above the challenges of our time, to learn from our mistakes, and to build something that will endure. If we are early, it means the universe is still waiting for us to step into the next act. The stage is set, the lights are dimming, and the curtain is about to rise. Now it's up to us to make our mark. As we sit in the stillness of the night, there's a thought that lingers, a quiet realization that the universe, in all its vastness, moves not just through action, but through patience. In our fast-paced modern world, where time often feels like something to be conquered, it's easy to forget that the most profound forces in the cosmos are those that wait. The stars wait for their moment to shine. The Earth waited for billions of years to find the perfect conditions for life. And now we, waiting in the early hours of our civilization, must learn to wait as well. Patience, however, is not passive. It is not a waiting for things to happen without effort or awareness. The patience of the universe is the kind of patience that allows life to unfold at its own pace, at its own rhythm. It is a patience that does not rush toward the end, but lets each moment be what it is, understanding that all things must evolve and grow in their own time. And, if we are early, as we believe, this patience is exactly what we must embrace. This isn't a new lesson. For centuries, humans have admired the quiet patience of the natural world. The way rivers carve through rock over millennia, how trees stretch slowly toward the sky, how flowers bloom only when the time is right. We, too, must learn to move at the pace of the universe. We must learn to trust that even though we can't see the full picture yet, there is a grand design unfolding, one that is more intricate and beautiful than we can imagine. The universe has waited for us to arrive, to take our place in the cosmic order. And while we may feel the pressure to rush forward, to prove our worth, we must remember that we are still in the process of becoming. The quiet power of patience is what will allow us to endure, to survive and thrive in the vast stretch of time ahead. Patience is not just about waiting for the right moment. It's about preparing for it, aligning ourselves with the rhythm of life and the universe. It's about understanding that we don't need to have all the answers right now. We don't need to rush to meet the future. We only need to be ready when it arrives. The universe has given us this time, a precious gift, and it is up to us to use it wisely. In many ways, the quiet of the universe is its strength. Just as the stars burn slowly, carefully, and steadily, we must learn to move at the same pace. We must take time to reflect, to understand, to grow. The waiting, the stillness, the silence, they are all part of the process that allows us to reach the fullness of who we are meant to be. If we are early, then perhaps we are being given this time to cultivate patience within ourselves, to learn how to grow at the pace of the universe, to trust that we will find our place when the time is right. The power of patience is not in rushing toward the future, but in trusting that it will unfold as it should. As we drift further into the night, the quiet moments of reflection turn into something more, something like a soft, distant horizon. It's a place that lies just beyond our reach, waiting for us to step into it. We've come so far, and yet, the future stretches out before us, full of unknowns, full of potential. The question lingers in the air, as it always does. What lies ahead? We've talked about the fragility of intelligence, the delicate nature of life, and the quiet patience of the universe. But now let's turn our gaze forward. The horizon, while distant, isn't an empty void. It's a place that holds the next chapter of the story, our story. And it's one that we are writing with each decision we make, with each step we take into the unknown. If we are early, then the future is ours to shape. We are the architects of what comes next. Our actions today, the way we manage our resources, how we treat each other, how we approach the challenges of technology and nature, will determine what lies ahead. The horizon is not a fixed point. It is a canvas, waiting for us to paint our future on it. The colors we choose, the brushstrokes we make, will define the world we leave behind. There are many who believe that the future is already written, that our path is determined by the forces of history, by the march of time. But I believe the future is something more malleable. It is something we create together. The decisions we make as a civilization, whether we choose collaboration or division, innovation or stagnation, will determine the direction in which we move. The horizon beyond isn't just a line in the distance. It's a reflection of our hopes, our dreams, and our fears. It's the culmination of everything we've learned, everything we've struggled through, and everything we've yet to understand. And though it may seem distant, it is always in front of us, beckoning us forward. If we are early, then the horizon is still unfolding. It is still a place of possibility, of untapped potential. We stand on the edge of something magnificent, something that has yet to be fully realized. The future is ours to discover, to mold, to breathe life into. And we are not alone in this task. We are part of a larger story, one that connects us to the past and will connect us to the future. The universe, in all its vastness, is not just a place to survive. It is a place to thrive. We have been given the rare opportunity to shape what comes next. The horizon is not something to fear. It is something to look forward to embrace with open arms. As we move forward, we must remember this. We are the first step in a much larger journey. The road ahead is long, and it is uncertain, but it is ours to travel. And with each step, we move closer to the answers we seek, closer to the civilization we are meant to be. We are writing this story, and the horizon is waiting for us to step into it. As the horizon beckons us, it's important to pause for a moment and consider a delicate truth about the universe. It is a place of both creation and destruction. Stars are born in great bursts of energy, only to fade away in spectacular explosions, giving birth to the elements that form new worlds. Life on Earth has followed a similar path, rising, flourishing, and sometimes falling away. This duality is woven into the fabric of existence itself. Creation and destruction are not opposing forces, but complementary ones, each one feeding into the other. If we are early, then we have yet to fully grasp the power of this balance. Our species stands on the edge of a great precipice, able to create wonders and yet, at the same time, capable of bringing about our own undoing. The technologies we develop, the choices we make, have the potential to create a new era of prosperity, or to lead us down a darker path. The question, then, is not whether we are capable of great things, but whether we are wise enough to wield the power we have been given. The destructive potential of our technologies is something that we must reckon with. From nuclear weapons to environmental degradation, from the potential risks of artificial intelligence to the dangers of unchecked scientific experimentation, the possibility of destruction is very real. And yet, the same technologies that have the power to destroy also have the potential to heal, to create, to transform. The same forces that have brought us to this point, the forces of energy, of matter, of intelligence, are the very forces that can shape a better future, if used wisely. This is the challenge that lies ahead. How do we create a future that is sustainable, that is peaceful, and that is just? How do we strike a balance between the power to create and the responsibility to protect what we have built? If we are early, then it is precisely because we have the chance to learn this balance. We have the opportunity to understand the weight of our actions before they have irreversible consequences. The balance between creation and destruction is not something we can take lightly. It is a lesson that has been taught throughout history, often in the hardest of ways. Civilizations that have failed to understand this balance have fallen, consumed by their own unchecked ambition. But civilizations that have succeeded in finding this balance have flourished, creating lasting legacies that continue to inspire and guide future generations. In the grand scheme of the universe, we are still in our infancy. Our ability to create is still in its early stages, and our understanding of destruction is still developing. But this is where patience becomes essential. If we are early, then we have the time to learn, to understand the consequences of our actions, to develop the wisdom to wield our power with care, and to build a world that reflects our highest values. Creation and destruction are not just inevitable forces. They are also opportunities. The challenge is in how we manage them. The future is a reflection of how well we learn to balance these two forces, how well we integrate the power to create with the wisdom to avoid self-destruction. As we stand on the threshold of the future, we must remember this balance. It is the key to everything that lies ahead. If we can find it, if we can navigate the complexities of creation and destruction with wisdom, then we will be ready for the next chapter of our story. And in that chapter, we will leave behind a world that is not just a product of our ambition, but a testament to our understanding of the delicate balance between the two. As we move further into the night, let's reflect on something profound yet often overlooked. We are all interconnected. Every action we take, every thought we have, ripples outward, touching the world around us. This idea of interconnection goes beyond just human beings. It extends to the natural world, the earth itself, and even to the cosmos. The universe, though vast and seemingly empty, is full of unseen ties that bind us together. If we are early, it is because we are still learning the full extent of these connections. We may think of ourselves as isolated, one species on a small planet, spinning in the middle of a vast, cold universe. But in truth, we are part of a much larger web of life, energy, and information. Every life form on Earth, every natural process, every star in the sky, is part of this interconnected dance. Consider the Earth itself, the water in the oceans, the air in our lungs, the very soil beneath our feet. All of these things are part of a complex system, one that sustains life and creates the conditions necessary for us to thrive. The plants, the animals, the weather patterns, the ecosystems, they are all interconnected in ways that we are only beginning to understand. The health of one part of the system affects the health of all the others. And as we begin to see the bigger picture, we realize that our actions, our decisions, have far-reaching consequences. This web of connections extends beyond Earth as well. The elements that make up our bodies, the carbon, the oxygen, the nitrogen, are the same elements that are scattered throughout the universe. The same building blocks of life that formed on Earth may exist on other planets, waiting for the right conditions to come together and create something similar. And just as we are connected to each other, we are also connected to the stars, to the galaxies, to the entire cosmos. The universe is not an empty space, but a living, breathing entity that is constantly shifting, evolving, and creating new possibilities. If we are early, then it's because we are still learning how to navigate this web of connections. We have only just begun to understand how deeply interconnected everything truly is. As we continue to grow as a species, we must learn to see ourselves not as isolated beings, but as part of a much larger whole. Our survival, our success, and our future depend on our ability to recognize and honor these connections. But this recognition is not just an intellectual exercise. It is a call to action. The health of the earth, the well-being of future generations, the balance of the natural world, all of these things depend on the choices we make today. We must understand that we are not separate from the world around us. We are a part of it, and our actions are a reflection of that. This web of connections, this intricate dance of life, is a gift that we must cherish and protect. If we are early, it means we have the time to build these connections with care, to strengthen the bonds that hold us together, and to ensure that the world we leave behind is one that reflects the interconnectedness of all life. As we move deeper into the stillness of the night, there's one thought that stands out, one that carries great weight and even greater promise: the power of choice. It is the essence of what it means to be human, and it is one of the greatest gifts we've been given. The ability to choose, to shape our own path, to decide what kind of world we want to live in, is something extraordinary. But with that power comes great responsibility. If we are early, then the choices we make today will echo throughout the future. They will define the course of our civilization, and perhaps even the fate of the entire planet. Each step we take, each decision we make, is like a pebble tossed into a calm pond. The ripples extend far beyond where we can see, touching everything in their path. We stand at a crossroads. The future is wide open before us, and though it is unknown, it is also full of possibilities. The choices we make today will determine whether we rise to greatness or falter into oblivion. We can choose to embrace sustainability, to protect the planet that has nurtured us, to create technologies that benefit all, and to foster peace and cooperation. Or we can choose the path of destruction, unchecked consumption, environmental devastation, conflict, and division. The choice is ours. What does it mean to choose wisely? It means recognizing that we are part of something larger than ourselves. It means understanding that the decisions we make today affect not just us, but the generations that come after us. It means embracing the interconnectedness of life and understanding that every action has consequences. It means choosing to build a future that reflects our highest values: compassion, cooperation, respect for nature, and a commitment to the well-being of all. As we stand on the threshold of the future, we must remember that our choices are not just about us. They are about the world we leave behind for those who come after us. They are about the legacy we create, the world we build, and the mark we leave on the universe. And though we may feel small in the face of such a vast and complex cosmos, the truth is that our choices matter. They always have, and they always will. In the end, the universe is not an impersonal, indifferent force. It is a place full of potential, waiting for us to step forward and claim our place in its story. If we are early, it means we have time to make the right choices, to take the lessons of the past and shape them into a future that is brighter, more just, and more harmonious. But time is not infinite. The choices we make today will shape the tomorrow we wake up to, and it is up to us to make them count. So, what kind of world do we want to create? What kind of legacy do we want to leave? The answer lies in the choices we make right now. As we continue through this quiet journey, there's something powerful that must be acknowledged. The seeds we plant today are the foundations of tomorrow. Every action, every decision, every change begins as a small seed, quietly taking root in the soil of time. These seeds, though they may seem insignificant at first, will grow into something much greater, a future shaped by the collective actions of us all. If we are early, then we have the privilege of planting these seeds now. Our civilization, like a garden in its infancy, is full of potential. But as with any garden, what we sow will determine what grows. If we plant the seeds of kindness, of wisdom, of cooperation, we will reap a harvest of peace and prosperity. If we plant the seeds of greed, division, and destruction, the consequences will be far-reaching and profound. The challenge lies not in knowing that we are planting, but in understanding what we are planting. Every decision we make is a seed. Every time we choose to conserve resources, to protect the environment, to treat others with respect and compassion, we are planting a seed that will one day grow into something far larger than we can imagine. These seeds may not sprout immediately, but over time, they will take root and change the world. Likewise, every moment we spend in ignorance or complacency is a seed sown in neglect. Every time we allow harm to the planet, or when we prioritize short-term gain over long-term sustainability, we are planting the seeds of destruction. These actions, too, will grow, but they will not grow in a way that benefits future generations. Instead, they will foster decay and collapse. What is beautiful about this analogy is that no seed is too small to matter. It's easy to think that our individual choices don't have an impact, that we are too small in the grand scope of the universe to matter. But each of us plays a role in the ecosystem of life, and the actions we take create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond our immediate surroundings. Like the smallest drop of water creating ripples across an ocean, the seeds we plant today will spread in ways we cannot fully predict. In many ways, we are all gardeners, and while we may not see the immediate results of our actions, we must trust that the seeds we plant today will grow into something beautiful. If we are early in the cosmic timeline, then we have the privilege of planting the first seeds. The generations that follow will continue the work we've started, but the seeds of progress, of understanding, of compassion, these are the ones we must plant now. We have time to plant wisely, to make decisions that will grow into a future that is rich in the values we hold dear. Time to cultivate a world that future generations will inherit, and time to nurture it with care. So, as we reflect on the choices before us, let us remember, we are planting seeds that will shape the future. What kind of world will we leave behind? What kind of garden do we want to grow? What is beautiful about this analogy is that no seed is too small to matter. It's easy to think that our individual choices don't have an impact, that we are too small in the grand scope of the universe to matter. But each of us plays a role in the ecosystem of life, and the actions we take create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond our immediate surroundings. Like the smallest drop of water creating ripples across an ocean, the seeds we plant today will spread in ways we cannot fully predict. In many ways, we are all gardeners, and while we may not see the immediate results of our actions, we must trust that the seeds we plant today will grow into something beautiful. If we are early in the cosmic timeline, then we have the privilege of planting the first seeds. The generations that follow will continue the work we've started, but the seeds of progress, of understanding, of compassion, these are the ones we must plant now. We have time to plant wisely, to make decisions that will grow into a future that is rich in the values we hold dear. Time to cultivate a world that future generations will inherit, and time to nurture it with care. So, as we reflect on the choices before us, let us remember, we are planting seeds that will shape the future. What kind of world will we leave behind? What kind of garden do we want to grow? And this is where the beauty lies in our being early. We have the chance to lay the foundation for these ripples. The seeds we plant today may be small, but they have the power to shape the future in ways we cannot yet fully see. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenges ahead. The environmental crises, the conflicts, the social and economic inequalities. But the truth is that each small act of progress, each step toward understanding, each moment of kindness, will build into something much larger than we can imagine. We must remember that change doesn't always come from the top down, from the loudest voices or the grandest gestures. Sometimes, it comes from the quietest corners of society, from the unnoticed actions that, when added together, create a movement. Every small act of integrity, every small decision to be better, to do better, these are the things that create the world of tomorrow. If we are early, then we are the ones who can make these small ripples. We are the ones who can set in motion the quiet, steady changes that will ultimately change everything. The choice is ours, and the world is waiting for us to act. As we move forward in our exploration, let's take a moment to look backward, not as a way to dwell on what's past, but to learn from the wisdom that has been passed down through the ages. The ancients, with their simple tools and their deep connection to nature, lived lives intertwined with the rhythms of the earth. They did not have the technological advancements we take for granted today, but they understood something profound: the importance of balance, patience, and respect for the natural world. If we are early, as we believe, then we have been given the opportunity to learn from the mistakes and successes of those who came before us. The rise and fall of past civilizations hold invaluable lessons. Lessons about the dangers of hubris, the fragility of progress, and the importance of maintaining harmony with the environment. The ancient Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Maya, the Chinese, all these civilizations in their time were powerful and advanced. Yet many of them fell due to their inability to sustain what they had built. Environmental degradation, internal conflict, and the unchecked pursuit of power were often at the heart of their downfall. The wisdom of the ancients teaches us that progress must be tempered with humility. It reminds us that, for all our achievements, we are not immune to the same forces that brought down those who came before us. The earth is a delicate balance of systems, and we are but one part of that greater whole. Just as the ancients understood the need to live in harmony with the land, so too must we learn to tread lightly on the earth, to respect its cycles, and to work with, not against, the forces of nature. The ancients also understood the importance of community. They knew that no civilization could thrive if it was built on the backs of the few, and that true progress comes when all people are given the opportunity to flourish. Whether it was the early democratic ideals of ancient Athens or the communal practices of indigenous peoples, there is a thread of wisdom that runs through these cultures: that society must work together for the greater good, and that each individual's well-being is connected to the well-being of the whole. If we are early, then we have the rare privilege of learning from these lessons. We can choose to take the best parts of the past, its wisdom, its respect for nature, its commitment to community, and build upon them as we create a future that is sustainable, peaceful, and just. But we must also be mindful of the mistakes made in the past. We cannot afford to repeat the same patterns of greed, exploitation, and division that led to the downfall of so many civilizations before us. As we continue to grow as a species, we must carry with us the knowledge that the future is built on the foundation of the past. We must not forget the lessons of the ancients, for they are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. The wisdom they left behind is not just a relic of history. It is a guide for the future, a beacon that lights the path ahead. As we look ahead, we must also recognize something fundamental. We are not separate from the vast, unfolding cycle of time. We are part of a greater narrative, one that stretches back to the very beginning of the universe and will continue long after we are gone. This awareness, the recognition that our lives, our civilizations, and our actions are but small threads in the vast fabric of time, can be both humbling and empowering. The universe itself is a cosmic cycle, a never-ending loop of birth, growth, decay, and renewal. Stars are born in clouds of gas and dust, live out their brilliant lives, and die in spectacular explosions, scattering their elements into the universe to create new stars, planets, and perhaps even new life. The Earth itself has followed a similar cycle, forming from cosmic debris, cooling over billions of years, nurturing life, and now entering a new chapter as we, the stewards of the planet, decide its future. If we are early, then we are living in a moment of cosmic youth. We are part of a process that has taken billions of years to unfold, and we are the first to realize the extraordinary privilege of this awareness. Our species, with its fledgling intelligence, has the ability to observe the cycles of the stars, to chart the passage of time, and to understand the forces that shape the universe. We stand at the threshold of something profound, aware of the great cosmic dance that we are part of, and yet still unsure of what comes next. This cosmic cycle is not just about the past, it is also about the future. The choices we make today will ripple outward, shaping the future in ways we cannot yet see. Like the stars that seeded the universe with elements necessary for life, we too are planting the seeds of tomorrow. And just as the earth is part of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, so too must we learn to live in harmony with the cycles that surround us. We often think of time as linear, one event following another, an unbroken chain of cause and effect. But time, when viewed on a cosmic scale, is more like a spiral. It loops back on itself, echoing through the ages. Our actions today are not just isolated events. They are part of a larger pattern, one that spans across the ages, and our place in this pattern is far from fixed. We have the power to shape the next cycle, to leave behind a legacy that will influence the future long after we are gone. This recognition of our place in the cosmic cycle brings with it a sense of responsibility. We are the caretakers of the future, the stewards of a legacy that stretches far beyond our own time. The universe has given us this moment, this brief, precious moment, to learn, to grow, and to shape the world we will leave behind. The cycle of time will continue, but it is up to us to determine what role we will play in it. If we are early, then we have the opportunity to act with wisdom, to be conscious of the long-term consequences of our decisions, and to understand that our actions are not isolated. They are part of a grand, eternal cycle, a cycle of creation, destruction, and rebirth. And how we navigate this cycle will determine the legacy we leave for those who come after us. As we stand at the cusp of a new era, it is important to reflect on what lies ahead. The future is not a distant, abstract concept. It is already beginning to take shape in the choices we make today. The actions we take now will define the kind of world future generations will inherit. We are in the early stages of something extraordinary, and if we embrace the opportunities before us with open minds and hearts, we can shape a future that is truly remarkable. If we are early, then we are at the dawn of a new chapter in the story of life, intelligence, and progress. The universe has given us this rare moment, a moment to explore, to learn, and to grow. It is a time of incredible potential, where the path ahead is not yet written. It is a time when we have the power to choose the direction we want to go. The road ahead may be long and uncertain, but it is ours to pave. The dawn of a new era is not just about technological advancements or scientific discoveries. It is also about our collective consciousness, the way we choose to see the world and our place in it. It is about recognizing that we are all connected, that the well-being of one is tied to the well-being of all. It is about creating a world where compassion, wisdom, and sustainability are valued above all else. In this new era, we have the opportunity to create a world that is not just more advanced, but more harmonious. We can build societies that are equitable, just, and inclusive. We can create technologies that heal rather than harm, that enhance the quality of life for everyone, and that work in harmony with the natural world. We can cultivate a deeper understanding of the Earth's ecosystems, learning to live within our means and protect the resources that sustain us. But this new era also requires us to confront some hard truths. We must acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead, the environmental crises, the social inequalities, the potential dangers of unchecked technological progress. These are not problems we can ignore. They are the challenges of our time, and how we respond to them will determine the future of our planet and our species. If we are early, then we have the chance to tackle these challenges head-on. We have the opportunity to build the systems, the institutions, and the mindsets that will carry us through the most difficult of times. We can learn from the mistakes of the past and build a future that is not only better but more sustainable. The world we create today will be the world future generations inherit. And the choices we make now will have consequences that ripple through time. This is the dawn of a new era, a time when we can choose to rise above our limitations and create a future that reflects the best of humanity. But it is also a time to recognize that we are still learning, still growing, still evolving. We are not perfect, but we are capable of greatness. And if we embrace our potential with wisdom and humility, we can build a future that is not only worthy of the challenges we face, but one that future generations will be proud to inherit. But this new era also requires us to confront some hard truths. We must acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead, the environmental crises, the social inequalities, the the potential dangers of unchecked technological progress. These are not problems we can ignore. They are the challenges of our time, and how we respond to them will determine the future of our planet and our species. If we are early, then we have the chance to tackle these challenges head-on. We have the opportunity to build the systems, the institutions, and the mindsets that will carry us through the most difficult of times. We can learn from the mistakes of the past and build a future that is not only better but more sustainable. The world we create today will be the world future generations inherit. And the choices we make now will have consequences that ripple through time. This is the dawn of a new era, a time when we can choose to rise above our limitations and create a future that reflects the best of humanity. But it is also a time to recognize that we are still learning, still growing, still evolving. We are not perfect, but we are capable of greatness. And if we embrace our potential with wisdom and humility, we can build a future that is not only worthy of the challenges we face, but one that future generations will be proud to inherit. The gift of time is also a reminder of the fragility of our existence. Time once past cannot be reclaimed. The choices we make today are the seeds of tomorrow. How we use our time now will determine the kind of world we leave behind. If we squander it, we risk leaving behind a world that is fractured, divided, and unsustainable. But if we use it wisely, we can build a world that is peaceful, just, and harmonious. A world that reflects the potential we have as a species. As we reflect on the gift of time, we must also acknowledge its limits. We are not immortal, and neither is the earth. Our time here is finite, and the choices we make now must take that into account. We must act with urgency, not out of fear, but out of a deep respect for the time we have been given. The time to act is now. The time to build a better future is now. And if we do not act, we risk losing the opportunity to create the world we know is possible. In the quiet of the night, as we consider the fleeting nature of time, let's remind ourselves that we are the stewards of this moment. We have the power to use our time wisely, to create a future that is worthy of the time we've been given. The choice is ours. How will we spend it? As we continue this reflective journey through time and space, we come to an undeniable truth. The future is full of possibility. It is a blank canvas, waiting for us to paint it with our actions, our dreams, and our collective vision. The horizon before us is wide, stretching out into the unknown, filled with both challenges and opportunities. And while we cannot predict exactly what will unfold, we do have the power to shape what comes next. If we are early, it means that we are at the very beginning of a new chapter, one where our choices will determine the course of the future. The future is not set in stone. It is not something that will simply happen to us. It is something we create, something we build with each decision we make today. And the possibilities are endless. What kind of future do we want to create? Do we want to live in a world of division, where resources are hoarded and inequality reigns? Or do we want to build a future where cooperation, sustainability, and compassion are the driving forces? Do we want a future where technological progress leaves the planet and its people behind, or a future where innovation works in harmony with nature, enhancing the quality of life for everyone? These are the questions we must ask ourselves, for the future is not something we wait for, it is something we must actively work towards. The horizon is not distant. It is here, right in front of us, waiting for us to step forward. The actions we take today will set the direction for tomorrow. And the time to begin is now. We are standing at a crossroads in human history. The decisions we make in this moment will echo through the ages, shaping the world for generations to come. If we are early, it is because we have been given the opportunity to make these choices with foresight and wisdom. We are the first to take this journey, but we are not alone. We are connected to the past and to the future, and the path we walk will leave a mark on all that follows. The horizon of possibility is vast, but it is not infinite. The window of opportunity will not remain open forever. If we are to create a future that is worthy of the challenges we face, we must act now. We must use our time wisely, not just for ourselves, but for all those who will come after us. We must choose the path of progress with purpose, guided by a sense of responsibility and compassion. We have the power to shape the future, We have the power to build a world that is better than the one we inherited. And though the path ahead may be uncertain, we can walk it with confidence, knowing that the future is not something that happens to us. It is something we create with every step we take. As we look ahead to the future, we must recognize a profound truth. True change often begins quietly. It doesn't always come in loud proclamations or grand gestures. The most significant shifts in history often start with small, internal revolutions, the quiet turning of the heart and mind. If we are early, it means that this moment is our opportunity to spark the change that will shape the world for generations to come. The quiet revolution is one that begins within each of us. It is the revolution of awareness, of empathy, of a deeper understanding of our interconnectedness with one another and the world around us. It is not about changing the world overnight, but about gradually shifting our perspectives, our priorities, and our actions. And though this change may seem slow, it is the kind of change that has the power to last. This revolution begins with small acts, individual decisions to live more sustainably, to treat others with kindness and respect, to seek understanding instead of division, to choose wisdom over impulse. These individual acts may seem insignificant, but when they are multiplied across communities, societies, and nations, they become something much more powerful. This is how real change happens. Not through force, but through the quiet, steady work of individuals who choose to make a difference in their own lives. If we are early, it means we have the chance to be the ones who start this revolution. We are the ones who can plant the seeds of change within ourselves, who can choose to live in alignment with the values we hold dear. And by doing so, we inspire others to do the same. This quiet revolution isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about taking one step at a time and making choices that move us closer to a future we can be proud of. This is not a revolution that relies on grand gestures or dramatic moments of transformation. It is a revolution that is built on the small, everyday decisions we make. Decisions to be more conscious, more compassionate, and more connected to the world around us. And while the changes may seem subtle at first, they are the kind of changes that have the potential to shift entire systems, to reshape the world in ways that we can't yet fully comprehend. The quiet revolution is already happening. It is happening in the hearts of people who are choosing to live with more intention, to make decisions that reflect their values, and to create a world that is rooted in harmony and sustainability. And if we are early, then we have the unique opportunity to help guide this revolution, to ensure that it grows into something that will endure for generations to come. In the end, the revolution we seek is not one of violence or upheaval. It is a revolution of the heart, a revolution that begins within each of us and ripples outward into the world. It is the quiet revolution of change, one decision at a time. As we look ahead to the future, we must recognize a profound truth. True change often begins quietly. It doesn't always come in loud proclamations or grand gestures. The most significant shifts in history often start with small, internal revolutions, the quiet turning of the heart and mind. If we are early, it means that this moment is our opportunity to spark the change that will shape the world for generations to come. The quiet revolution is one that begins within each of us. It is the revolution of awareness, of empathy, of a deeper understanding of our interconnectedness with one another and the world around us. It is not about changing the world overnight, but about gradually shifting our perspectives, our priorities, and our actions. And though this change may seem slow, it is the kind of change that has the power to last. This revolution begins with small acts, individual decisions to live more sustainably, to treat others with kindness and respect, to seek understanding instead of division, to choose wisdom over impulse. These individual acts may seem insignificant, but when they are multiplied across communities, societies, and nations, they become something much more powerful. This is how real change happens. Not through force, but through the quiet, steady work of individuals who choose to make a difference in their own lives. If we are early, it means we have the chance to be the ones who start this revolution. We are the ones who can plant the seeds of change within ourselves, who can choose to live in alignment with the values we hold dear. And by doing so, we inspire others to do the same. This quiet revolution isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about taking one step at a time and making choices that move us closer to a future we can be proud of. This is not a revolution that relies on grand gestures or dramatic moments of transformation. It is a revolution that is built on the small, everyday decisions we make. Decisions to be more conscious, more compassionate, and more connected to the world around us. And while the changes may seem subtle at first, they are the kind of changes that have the potential to shift entire systems, to reshape the world in ways that we can't yet fully comprehend. The quiet revolution is already happening. It is happening in the hearts of people who are choosing to live with more intention, to make decisions that reflect their values, and to create a world that is rooted in harmony and sustainability. And if we are early, then we have the unique opportunity to help guide this revolution, to ensure that it grows into something that will endure for generations to come. In the end, the revolution we seek is not one of violence or upheaval. It is a revolution of the heart, a revolution that begins within each of us and ripples outward into the world. It is the quiet revolution of change, one decision at a time. As we journey further into the night, the concept of unity becomes ever more crucial. If we are early in our existence, then it's clear that we are not meant to walk this path alone. The future we are working to create will only come to fruition when we come together, when we recognize that our fate is intertwined with the fate of others. Throughout history, humanity has faced challenges both great and small. But it is often in our darkest moments that we realize the strength that comes from unity. From the early days of our species, when we gathered around firelight for warmth and protection, to the modern age, where we connect across continents with the touch of a button, we have always found strength in working together. The power of collaboration, of shared purpose, has been the foundation of our progress. If we are early, it means we still have the opportunity to forge deeper, more meaningful connections. We have the chance to build societies that are not divided by borders, race, or belief, but united by our shared humanity. The future we seek cannot be built by individuals working in isolation. It must be built by communities coming together, pooling their knowledge, resources, and strength to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Unity is not just about coming together in times of crisis. It's also about recognizing our shared responsibility to one another and to the planet. In a world that can often feel fragmented and divided, we must remember that we are all connected, not just to each other, but to the earth itself. Every choice we make, every action we take, ripples out into the world, affecting others in ways we may not immediately see. The true power of unity lies in our ability to support one another, to lift each other up, and to work together for the common good. We are all part of a larger whole, and our collective efforts can bring about the kind of change that is impossible to achieve alone. If we can come together, if we can set aside our differences and focus on what unites us, then the future becomes a place of endless possibilities. But unity does not mean uniformity. It does not mean that we must all think the same or live the same way. Unity is about respect, respect for different perspectives, for the diversity of human experience, and for the richness that comes from our differences. It is about finding common ground in our shared values and working together toward a future that honors all voices. If we are early, it means that we still have time to build this unity. The challenges ahead may seem daunting, but they are not insurmountable if we face them together. In fact, it is through unity that we will find the strength to overcome whatever obstacles lie ahead. Together, we can create a future that is sustainable, equitable, and peaceful. In the end, unity is not just a goal. It is the means by which we will achieve the future we seek. It is the foundation upon which we will build a world that reflects the best of our shared humanity. And if we are early, then it is the perfect time to begin forging those connections, to start working together toward a brighter tomorrow. As we move deeper into our exploration of the future, we find ourselves standing at the edge of the unknown. The path ahead is uncharted, filled with possibilities that we can't yet see. Yet, there is one thing that can guide us through the uncertainty: wisdom. Wisdom is not just about knowledge or intellect. It is the ability to navigate the unknown with clarity, with integrity, and with a deep understanding of our place in the world. If we are early, it means that we have the rare privilege of shaping the course of history. But with that privilege comes a great responsibility. We must not rush ahead without considering the consequences of our actions. Wisdom teaches us to take a step back, to reflect, and to understand the long-term implications of the choices we make. It is the quiet voice that asks, what will this lead to? How will this affect the world and those who come after us? The unknown is not something to fear. In fact, it is where all growth and transformation occur. Every great discovery, every leap forward in human progress, has come from stepping into the unknown. The unknown is the place where innovation is born, where new ideas are tested, and where the future is shaped. But to navigate it effectively, we need more than just courage or ambition. We need wisdom. Wisdom allows us to recognize the limits of our knowledge, to understand that there is always more to learn, more to discover, and more to explore. It teaches us humility, to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers and that our understanding is always evolving. And it encourages us to listen to the world around us, to the voices of others, and to the wisdom of the past. In the face of the unknown, wisdom also teaches us patience. It reminds us that change takes time and that true progress is often a slow, deliberate process. The world we are building will not be created overnight. It will require careful thought, steady effort, and the willingness to adapt as we learn more about ourselves and the world we live in. If we are early, then we have the time to cultivate this wisdom, to learn from the past, and to approach the challenges of the future with clarity and foresight. The path of wisdom is not always the easiest one. It often requires us to make difficult decisions, to slow down when the world around us is rushing forward, and to question our assumptions. But it is also the path that leads to lasting change. Wisdom allows us to see beyond the immediate, to consider the long-term consequences of our actions, and to choose the path that will lead to a future that reflects our highest ideals. In the end, the unknown is not something to fear. It is a space full of possibility, waiting for us to step forward with wisdom, integrity, and purpose. If we are early, then we have the opportunity to guide the course of history with the wisdom we cultivate today. The future is not a distant, abstract concept. It is a path we are walking step by step with each decision we make. And if we walk that path with wisdom, we will create a future that reflects the best of who we are. As we move further into this journey, it becomes ever more apparent that at the heart of all true progress lies compassion. It is not enough to simply create, innovate, or build. We must also care. We must care for each other, for the planet, and for the generations that will come after us. Compassion is the force that transforms ambition into meaningful change, that turns knowledge into wisdom, and that guides us toward a future where all can thrive. If we are early, it means that we have the opportunity to lead with compassion, to shape a future that is not only advanced but deeply humane. Compassion is the thread that connects us, that reminds us that we are not isolated individuals, but part of a larger community. One that stretches beyond borders, beyond nations, and even beyond species. It is the recognition that our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others, both human and non-human. True progress cannot exist without compassion. Without it, technology becomes a tool of division rather than unity. Innovation becomes a means of exploitation rather than empowerment. Compassion ensures that the advancements we make are used for the betterment of all, not just a select few. It reminds us that the purpose of progress is not to conquer the world, but to coexist with it, to nurture it, and to live in harmony with it. If we are to build a world that is sustainable and just, we must place compassion at the core of everything we do. It must guide our decisions, shape our policies, and define our relationships with each other and the world around us. Compassion is what will allow us to bridge the gaps between rich and poor, between nations, between cultures, and between humans and the environment. But compassion is not a passive force. It is an active, dynamic energy that requires us to act. It compels us to listen to those who are suffering, to step forward in times of need, and to make choices that reflect our shared humanity. Compassion requires that we put the well-being of others at the forefront of our minds and hearts, that we recognize the interconnectedness of all life, and that we act in ways that support the flourishing of all, not just the few. In the quiet moments, when we reflect on the world we are building, we must ask ourselves, are we building it with compassion? Are we shaping a future that honors the dignity and worth of all beings? If we are early, then we have the unique opportunity to ensure that compassion is woven into the very fabric of our civilization. It can be the foundation upon which we build our cities, our societies, and our technologies. In the end, compassion is the heart of progress. It is the guiding light that will lead us through the challenges ahead and ensure that the world we create is one that we can all be proud of. A world where no one is left behind, where the planet is cared for, and where future generations inherit a world full of possibility and kindness. As we stand on the edge of a new beginning, it becomes clear that every choice we make ripples through time, carrying with it consequences that extend far beyond our immediate surroundings. The future is not some distant, unreachable place. It is already taking shape with each action, each thought, each decision we make today. If we are early, then the time to shape the future is now. The path we choose today is the foundation upon which all that follows will be built. The future is often thought of as something that comes to us, as if it were a destination we will eventually reach. But in reality, the future is something we create, step by step, with each decision we make. It is the culmination of the choices we make in this moment, the way we choose to live, the way we treat the planet, and the way we build our societies. Every choice, no matter how small, is a building block of the world that will exist tomorrow. If we are early, it means that the world we are creating is still in its infancy, still malleable and open to the influence of our collective actions. The future has not yet been fully written. It is still being shaped, still being formed, still unfolding. And the beauty of this is that we are the authors. We are the ones who have the power to decide what the future will look like. This power comes with great responsibility. The choices we make today are not just about our own lives. They are about the lives of those who will follow. They are about the generations that will inherit the world we leave behind. And it is up to us to ensure that the world we create is one that is worth inheriting, a world that is sustainable, just, and full of possibility. The future is not a distant dream. It is the world we are building right now. Every action we take, every choice we make, contributes to the world that will exist tomorrow. And the beauty of this is that we are not alone in this process. We are part of a global community, a vast network of people all working toward the same goal, to create a better world for future generations. The future is already unfolding, and it begins with us. If we are early, then we have the rare opportunity to shape it with intention, with care, and with the knowledge that our actions matter. The world we leave behind will be a reflection of the choices we make today. The time to act is now. So let us choose wisely, with compassion, with foresight, and with a deep understanding of the power we hold. The future is in our hands, and it is ours to create. As we near the final chapters of this exploration, it's time to reflect on one of the most important aspects of our existence: the legacy we leave behind. The future is shaped by what we do in the present, but it is also shaped by what we leave for those who come after us. If we are early, then we have a unique opportunity to leave behind a world that future generations can build upon, a world that reflects our highest values and aspirations. The idea of legacy is not just about monuments or material achievements. It is about the impact we have on others, on the planet, and on the world. It's about the ways in which we touch the lives of those who follow, whether through the choices we make, the love we give, or the lessons we pass down. Legacy is about the ripples we create, the ways in which our actions continue to shape the world long after we are gone. We often think of legacy in terms of grand achievements, great works of art, monumental buildings, revolutionary ideas. But true legacy is also found in the quieter moments, in the small, everyday acts of kindness and wisdom. It's in the way we treat the earth, the way we care for our neighbors, and the way we live our lives with integrity. These are the things that endure, the things that future generations will look back on and remember. If we are early, it means that we are still in the process of creating our legacy. We have the chance to shape it with every decision we make. The world we leave behind will be a reflection of how we lived, how we balanced progress with sustainability, how we cared for one another, and how we respected the natural world. It is a legacy built on the foundation of compassion, wisdom, and action. Our legacy is not just about the material world we leave behind. It is about the stories we tell, the values we uphold, and the relationships we foster. It is about the knowledge and wisdom we pass down to future generations, so that they can continue the work we've started. It is about creating a world where future generations can thrive, one that is just, sustainable, and full of possibility. The legacy we leave is not determined by the size of our achievements, but by the quality of our lives. If we live with purpose, if we act with compassion, if we choose to create a world that reflects our highest ideals, then our legacy will endure. It will live on in the hearts and minds of those who come after us, in the choices they make and the world they build. As we approach the future, let us remember that we are not just creating a world for ourselves, but for all those who will come after us. The legacy we leave will be the foundation upon which they will build their lives. And it is up to us to ensure that the world we leave behind is one that they can be proud of, a world that reflects the best of humanity. As we come to the final part of this journey, one truth stands above all others. The path ahead is not one we walk alone. The future, with all its promise and uncertainty, is a shared journey. We are not solitary travelers on this road. We are part of a vast, interconnected community of beings, human and non-human, living and non-living, each contributing to the unfolding of time. If we are early, it means that we are at the beginning of something grand, something that will stretch far beyond our individual lives, stretching into the future and weaving through the generations to come. In the quiet of this moment, let's remember that the future we are creating is not just for ourselves, but for all those who will follow. The choices we make, the actions we take, the lives we live, they will shape the world for those who come after us. And so, our journey is not just about the steps we take today, but about the road we pave for tomorrow. The endless journey toward the future is one of collaboration, of mutual understanding, and of shared responsibility. The challenges we face, climate change, inequality, technological advancement, and global interconnectedness, are too great for any one person or group to tackle alone. But together, with compassion, wisdom, and determination, we can create a future that reflects the best of who we are as a species. The road ahead is not a straight line. It is winding, unpredictable, and full of twists and turns. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But with every step we take, we move closer to the future we envision. The key is not to fear the unknown, but to embrace it with courage and hope. For every challenge we face, there is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become better. If we are early, it means we have the opportunity to shape this journey. The future is still in our hands, and the choices we make today are the building blocks of the world to come. Together, we can rise above the divisions that separate us, above the fears that hold us back, and build a future that is just, sustainable, and full of possibility. We have the power to create a world that future generations will inherit with pride and gratitude. In the end, the endless journey toward the future is not a race. It is a walk we take together side by side. And as we take each step, we carry with us the lessons of the past, the wisdom of the present, and the hopes of the future. The road may be long, but we are not alone. We are all in this together. And so, as we continue on this journey, let us remember, the future is not a destination. It is a journey we begin today, a journey we share with one another. And the choices we make now will guide us, step by step, toward a brighter tomorrow. With that, we rest in the knowledge that the journey is just beginning, and we walk forward, together with hope in our hearts and the future ahead of us. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you carry the wisdom of this moment with you as you step forward into the future, knowing that you are part of something far greater than yourself.